One advantage of going mid-throw and most of the time safe lane trolls don't have is that you can go BKB early without acquiring DPS items. The old style of throw we are used to know was a very tanky hero based on slowing and kiting heroes no-stop. He would go items like Sanjanyasha, Skadi, and maybe BKB later on if he was feeling like it. Mid-throw this game has two important jobs: applying Whirling Axes on both Monkey King and Anti-Mage, the damage dealers from Dire, and ulting when his 2 extra cores are in position to deal damage to the enemy team. Manta and BKB are a good mix of damage and survivability that allows him to be in front with no fear. He still deals a ton of damage, especially with Wolf Aura, but he is more of a frontliner that soaks damage and allows his team to deal more DPS while also taking less because of the mischance. Hey guys, DOTA here, and this is how to play Troll Warlord in 7.0.0 featuring Dandy. I'm so glad this finally happened. In my opinion, Troll was going to be viable again when he could be played as a mid, since most of the right clickers that benefit from Troll ult are usually carriers, so when you place him in the carry position you kinda lose that spot. In this game he even has a physical damage offlaner in Weaver, which is very nice as well. I feel like Dandy thought this was going to be mid Monkey King. In my opinion, Troll can be decent 1 versus 1 against him, especially because of the mischance in his axis and the ability to switch from melee to ranged. But he ends up against a Skyref, which is decent to lane against in the lower levels, but terrible later on, after level 5 or 4. One thing to point out about the power spike of Troll in a lane is that most of the time you can only get kills after level 3. You need ranged form to slow the enemy, and without the extra attack speed, more often than not, you won't have the DPS available to kill the enemy. Skyref was pressuring him a lot, but after level 3, check how he already clicks on him to assess if he can get the kill. It is pretty unlikely considering he has a Fairy Fire, but he tries his luck. See how he gets closer to his allied creeps as he was going to deny one of them to get closer to land his low. Also, he gets as close as possible with melee farm that has extra move speed. Quickly changes to range farm to cast slow and immediately goes back to melee. He uses the other axes, but since the slow only lasts for 3 seconds, he knows it's not a good idea to keep following up. A good idea to get solo kills with Troll is poking the hero you want to go a few times and not attacking anyone else because you already stack some attack speed. But against Skyref, getting closer is not really that much of an option. I really like his decision after level 4. Sky can easily harass and maybe even kill Troll, while he will have a hard time keeping his HP up in that lane. Sky also healed in his shrine and is ready to fight again, while Troll doesn't have that much kill potential as Sky without more move speed or levels in the slow. He decides to go jungle, but not without timing a shrine heal with an ancient stack. Also, if you look at his skill build, he was already planning to do exactly that. More lockdown with points in bash or more slow with points in axis help getting kills, but Skyref is not really a hero he can get easy kills, unless Sky misplays. So he's already planning to go jungle, and with PMS, Quelling Blade and Regen from Headrest, he can do it easily. Some efficiency tips to talk about is him always walking between camps on melee farm to get there faster, using ranged farm to draw aggro faster, and using the melee axis to reduce damage dealt to him. He has no other use for his mana, and I guess the only real precaution you could take if you're feeling afraid is saving enough mana for ranged access to slow someone that comes to gank you. You can also kite the creeps by switching to range farm when they start walking away from you and then back to melee, since your BAT is way lower when you're on melee farm, and you also get bonus damage from Quelling Blade. When Dandy was trying to go for a kill on Monkey King, Skyref spots him and look at his decision making. He casts melee axes while he fake backs, but as their size increases, he goes back to hit Sky. He follows it up with a slow, and I'm not sure if that was Sky's or Monkey's bottle, but that regen saves him and also kills Dondo, pretty unfortunate. He keeps farming the jungle, and I really like that he went boots before finishing Helm of the Dominator. Helm of the Dominator actually was always a great item on Troll, but it always felt like he didn't really need all that armor, especially after the buff to his base armor. Now that the item gives stats, something Troll desperately needs, and some base attack speed to get passive stacks faster, especially now that you get more attack speed overall with the skill, but it builds up slower. Creeps being faster also help playing aggressive with the hero, since in the other patch, Troll was way faster than the creeps and they weren't able to keep up to give you auras or just use their slow or abilities. One problem faced by Dandy in this game is that while he has 2 big right clickers in his team, in the early to mid game they depend way more on damage than they depend on attack speed. Also, since he didn't have the best laning phase, he's using ult in the jungle to catch up, and doesn't really have it for his allies during fights, and they actually lose a lot of early fights because of that. But keep watching. As Dandy was farming a medium camp, Monkey King is styling on Dandy's allies, as every Monkey King does in the early game. They get a good fight, but Monkey King was on a pretty good day. Dandy has 3 levels in Whirling Nexus, and Monkey King hits all his attacks, killing the hero eventually. Those 3 points in the skill are definitely a reaction to having Monkey King in the enemy team. To be honest, it's definitely a good skill against anti-mage, but you can manage to learn the skill points later, since AM won't be fighting him early. But Monkey King's power spike is very early centric, and while having Bash is a way to deal with Monkey King, it is riskier than maxing Axes because you're depending more on luck. He keeps farming the jungle, his items arrive, and if he popped that clarity while he was killing the jungle camps and sent the raindrops to the inventory, he would have enough mana to use all of his 3 skills to take Monkey King down. Unfortunate, but it's always a good idea to remind everyone that you can use it while you farm the jungle. And this is actually a pretty big buff to mid troll, because you were kinda forced into going bottle before, and to be honest, he doesn't really like that item so much, and with clarities you can keep farming the jungle while maintaining your mana in good levels to fight later on. As you can see, even with a suboptimal laning phase, Dandy farms the jungle very fast. He is close to the top of the net worth now, and he tries a very interesting play. After that fight in the shrine, he sends his dominated creep close to the left shrine, TPs there with smoke, he tanks some of the damage early on and then lets his creeps deal with the rest. Unfortunately, I feel like he mis-microed the creep and Rubik spots action on Roshan, and he is forced to back. Another interesting point to talk about is how he saves tangles and clarities in his backpack before he even needs them. Troll is a hero that utilizes jungle greatly, and by having those items with him, he can maintain his level of farm while being ready to fight if needed, especially now that you don't get lifesteal with Helm of the Dominator anymore. Not many people are using backpack to its full potential, and I feel this is a step towards that. Of course, that region was probably for Roshan as well, but I feel like this is something people can start using for just farming the jungle. They get a tier 1 tower, and guys, always call your team to region in the shrine after engagements like that. While Dandy waits his team, he farms the remaining ancients. He's able to keep farming, and then he smokes with his team to go Rosh again. This time with his team positioned around the area. They get the Aegis, and since anti-mage is not ready to fight, Bounty Hunter is terrible at defending sieges, they can go on tower after tower after tower. There's no creep better than Wolf for sieges, and 5 vs 5s in general. Towers just melt. When they are going for tier 2 bottom, Monkey King zones them out with his ult, and pay attention how Dire kites everyone from Radiant. This fight in itself was a bad one. They have no vision, it's nighttime, they are fighting against track, and the problem is that Phoenix ults too defensively, thinking that Dire was going to jump at them. In reality, since Medusa and Troll also committed their ults, they're just too afraid to go in, and they just back and wait for a better time to engage. And that's fine, sometimes their skill usage ends up being suboptimal, but Radiant has no ammunition anymore. They should be spamming get back in their chat wheels, instead they try to go aggressive. Yeah, they have Aegis, but there's no way they can win against this. Dandy has the right idea, but his team does not. Well, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please guys give it a thumbs up. If you want to see the extended version of this video, please check the link in the description. And I can't overstate how this video wouldn't ever be possible without